Islam. It is July the 13th, 2018. I am Rhonda Arrington-Bey, and I'm about to read the Holy Quran, Circle 7. The Holy Quran first. I'm going to read on chapter 79, Those Who Yearn. It's approximately 5:30 a.m. Islam. 5:30 a.m. Islam. Good morning to the universe and Allah. We're going to start off by reading the opening. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Master of the day of requital, Thee do we serve, and Thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom Thou hast bestowed favors, and not those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Islam. Chapter 79, Those Who Yearn. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. By those yearning vehemently, and those going forth cheerfully, and those running swiftly, and those that are foremost going ahead, and those regulating the affair. The day when the quaking one shall quake, the consequence will follow it. Hearts that day will palpitate, their eyes downcast. They say, shall we indeed be restored to our first state? What, after we are rotten bones? They say, that would then be a return with lost. It is only a single cry, when, lo, they will be awakened. Has not there come to thee the story of Moses, when his Lord called him in the holy valley to walk? Go to Pharaoh, surely he has rebelled, and say, wilt thou purify thyself? And I will guide thee to thy Lord, so that thou fear him. So he showed him the mighty sign, but he denied and disobeyed. Then he went back hastily. So he gathered and called out. Then he said, I am your Lord, the Most High. So Allah seized him with the punishment of the hereafter and of this life. Surely there is in this a lesson for him who fears. Let me read that again. It says, then he went back hastily, so he gathered and called out. Then he said, I am your Lord, the Most High. So Allah seized him with the punishment of the hereafter and of this life. Surely there is in this a lesson for him who fears. The Great Calamity, Section 2. Are you the stronger in creation or the heaven? He made it. He raised high its height and made it perfect. And he made dark its night and brought out its light. And the earth he cast it after that. He brought forth from it its water and its pasture. And the mountains, he made them firm, a provision for you and for your cattle. So when the great calamity comes, the day when man remembers all that he strove for, and hell is made manifest to him who sees, then as for him who is inordinate and prefer the life of this world, hell is surely the abode. And as for him who fears to stand before his Lord and restrains himself from low desires, the garden is surely the abode. Are you listening, Imani? Imani? Imani?
Yeah.
Right now, you should be listening. When I read, Imani, you should listen even though you don't have to read. You understand? You understand?
Yes.
Because I'm reading a chapter in the Holy Quran. So even when you're reading and I'm laying down, I'm tuning into your words. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay? Do not tune out. You understand?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, you were? Okay, great. Islam. Okay. Puffy face. Okay, let me continue. I just woke up not too long ago. Feeling good. Anyway, Allah is great. Let me continue to read. They asked thee about the hour. When will they take place? About which thou reminds. To thy Lord is the goal of it. Thou art only a warner to him who fears it. On the day when they see it, it will be as if they had but tarried for an evening or a morning. Chapter 80, he frowned. It's called Abasa. Abasa. It's different. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, he frowned and turned away, because the blind man came to him. And what would make thee know that he might purify himself, or be mindful, so the reminder should profit him? As for him who considers himself free from need, to him thou dost attend, and no blame is on thee, if he purify himself not. And as to him who comes to thee striving hard, and he fears, to him thou payest no regard. Nay, surely it is a reminder. So let him who will mind it, and honored books, exalted, purified in the hands of scribes, noble, virtuous. Let me read that again. And what would make thee know that he might purify himself, or be mindful, so the reminder should profit him? As for him who considers himself free from need, to him thou dost attend, and no blame is on thee, if he purify himself not. And as to him who comes to thee striving hard, and he fears, to him they pays no regard. Nay, surely it is a reminder. So let him who will mind it, in honored books, exalted, purified in the hands of scribes, noble, and virtuous. Woe to man! How ungrateful is he! Of what thing did he create him? Of a small life germ. He creates him, then proportions him, then makes the way easy for him. Then he causes him to die, then assigns to him a grave. Then, when he will, he raises him to life again. Nay, but he does not what he commands him. Then let man look at his food, how we pour down abundant water, then cleave the earth, cleaving it asunder, then cause the grain to grow therein, and grapes and clover, and the olive and the palm, and thick gardens, and fruits and herbage, a provision for you and your cattle. But when the deafening cry comes, the day when a man flees from his brother, and his mother and his father, and his spouse and his sons, every man of them that day will have concern enough to make him indifferent to others. Faces on that day will be bright, laughing, joyous, and faces on that day will have dust on them. I'm going to reread this again. Then he causes him to die, starting with verse 21. He causes him to die, then assigns to him a grave. Then when he will, he raises him to life again. Nay, but he does not what he commands him. Then let man look at his food, how we pour down abundant water, then cleave the earth, cleaving it asunder. Then cause the grain to grow therein, and grapes and clover, and the olive and the palm, and thick gardens. And fruits and herbage, a provision for you and your cattle. But when the deafening cry comes, the day when a man flees from his brother, and his mother and his father, and his spouse and his sons, every man of them that day will have concern enough to make him indifferent to others. Faces on that day will be bright, laughing, joyous, and faces on that day will have dust on them. Darkness covering them. Those are the disbelievers, the wicked. The wicked. All right, so I will stop there. It's long. On the Holy Quran. Okay, now I'm going to read Think It Over Moors. But before I read that, I'm going to read the Holy Quran Circle 7, chapter 26, the holy unity of the rich and the poor. The man to whom Allah have given riches and blessed. Hold on one second. Okay, we're going to start again. Excuse me. It's going on 6 a.m. This is once again the Holy Quran Circle 7, chapter 26. Imani, are you listening? Good. The man to whom Allah have given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. He looked on his wealth with pleasure because it afforded him the means to do good. He protected the poor that are injured. He suffered not the mighty to oppress the weak. He seek out objects of compassion. He inquireth into their wants. He relieveth them with judgments and without ostentation. He assisteth and rewardeth merit. He encourageth ingenuity and liberally promote every useful design. He careth his own great works. His country is enriched, and the labor is employed. He formed new schemes, and the arts receive improvements. He considers the superfluities of his table as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. The benevolence of his mind is not checked by his fortune. He rejoiced therefore in riches, and his joy is blameless. And this is once again, at the beginning it says, the man to whom Allah have given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. Islam. And then verse 9 it goes to say on the opposite side, but woe unto him that heap up wealth in abundance and rejoice alone in the possession thereof, that grindeth the face of the poor, and considereth not the sweat of their brows. He driveth on oppression without feeling. The ruin of his brother disturbed him not. The tears of the orphan he drink as milk. The cries of the widow are music to his ears. His heart hardened with the love of wealth. No grief or distress can make impression upon him. But the curse of iniquity pursue him. He lived in continual fear. The anxiety of his mind and the rapacious desires of his own soul takes vengeance upon him for the calamities he has brought upon others. Oh, woe, what are the miseries of poverty in comparison with the gnawings of this man's heart? Let the poor man confront himself. No, let the poor man comfort. It says comfort himself. Yes, rejoice, for he hath many reasons. He sit down to his morsels in peace. His table is not crowded with flatterers and devourers. He is not embarrassed with a train of dependents, nor teased with the clamors of solicitations. Debarred from the dainties of the rich, he escaped also their diseases. The bread that he eat is not so sweet to his taste. The water he drink is not so pleasant to his thirst. Yea, far more delicious water than the richest draughts of the luxurious. I hope that's it. Luxurious. Yeah. His labor preserve his health. He procureth him a repose, to which the downy bed of sloth is a stranger. He limiteth his desires with humility, and the calm of contentment is sweeter to his soul than all the acquirements of wealth and grandeur. Let not the rich, therefore, presume on his riches, nor the poor in his poverty yield to despondence. For the providence of Allah dispense happiness to them both. Islam. That is chapter 26 of the Holy Quran, Circle 7. Now I'm going to read this morning Moorish literature. It says, think it over, Moors. Think this over, you Moors. All sheiks and grand sheiks must prepare for the Prophet before he comes to visit them. Must see to it that all is clean and in perfection as far as comfort is possible, or otherwise don't arrange to have his presence. All members must pay from 25 cents to 50 cents weekly towards the emergency fund. This fund will increase so that it will soon amount to the grand sum of $1,000. This is if you are loyal Moors. The emergency funds goes into the bank. The treasurer will tend to the responsibility of seeing that the money is in the bank. Yes, and under the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America Finance. When needed, act according to the law pertaining to the procedure of performing an emergency act. No head of any said temple is to borrow from any member more than $5 to $10 unless by notification of the prophet the necessity for the loan. When any said temple desires to purchase property, they must first notify the grand body or the prophet, and it must be purchased under the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America or Noble Drew Ali. An individual name must never be applied. I, Noble Drew Ali, am responsible for all finance, so therefore let I, the prophet, know what is on me. Some of you have slipped drastically, so you had better lace up your shoes before I get there. Every business transaction or anything pertaining to finance is to be transacted in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America or Noble Drew Ali. We Moors must maintain a grand treasurer, just as in the days of our forefathers. Then you are a nation. Until then, you are nothing. The emergency fund is issued by no book, but by an emergency card punched according to contribution, then marked on book. That is the law, and the law must live. The government is behind me, and I must get behind you, for I must uphold and enforce the law. My mission is to save you Moors. The heads of all temples, grand sheikhs, grand sheikhs, must conform to the divine principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. They must live the life among the members and be loved even as the prophet is loved. They must not practice the principles of segregation among any group in his or her temple. Let it be he or she that is head of any temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that if there should come any grievance that cannot be settled by the head, notify the prophet at once. No member is to attend a damp chamber that has not lived a moral and clean life, and has not paid his or her dues or assessments, providing that he or she is working or able, cannot consider himself a Moor. But traders must be excluded from the books after having fair trial by the head of their temple, and that must be sent into the grand body. And all members that are able and fail to act are not Moors, but traitors to their cause and trust in their nation, and are not allowed to share all the Moorish honors. And the penalty is, it is embezzlement of the faith of our creed. All heads of all temples must observe these laws.